And even if they had a successful Ebola virus vaccination, who's to say what else could be in it that would have long-term deleterious effects? I would recommend that people not take that inoculation. I think it would be foolish of them. I would much rather wait and hunker down with my family here at my ranch than go in and take that inoculation. That is absolute insanity.
Well, look, in California last year, they admitted that the MMR shot was giving people what it supposedly treated. A lot of these new vaccines are actually live viruses. I mean, I wouldn't trust this group. I wouldn't trust Bill and Melinda Gates and Monsanto. And it's not that we don't believe that there's some science behind it, inoculation theory. It's 500 years old with smallpox. It's that we can't trust this group with their whole history of secret testing.
Right. Yeah, there is great cause for concern, and I think that it would be foolish of people to just rush out and take this inoculation. Who knows? There could be, as you mentioned, live virus contamination. So instead of stopping a pandemic, they could actually be proliferating it into all 50 states with their own inoculation. So folks need to beware, and they need to be in prayer as well, that we need God's protection from this.
Oh, I have 3 children. I have a lot of family. I know a lot of you do too out there. It makes me beyond angry. It's just so disgusting they haven't shut down those flights because, James, as Africa continues to collapse, more are going to come. We may be able to contain this, but not all the new people pouring over. We'll be back in 1 minute for final comments from James. Then I got John McCain being confronted, your phone calls, and more. Third hour coming up. You need to tell your friends and family to tune in because we need to get people organized.
The Genesis Communications Radio
to force the control of our borders.
You've heard about the essential qualities of iodine when it comes to your well-being, and you've read the opinions of top experts regarding this good member of the halogen family. Still, reports indicate that iodine is absent in sufficient amounts from the daily lives of countless people worldwide. Now, our extra-strength new nascent iodine formula is here, Survival Shield X2, leading the way into the next generation of super high-quality nascent iodine. InfoWars Life Survival Shield X2 is derived from 200+ million-year-old salt solutions found more than 7,000 feet below the Earth's surface. The result is a unique nascent iodine that is both concentrated and free of unwanted additives, genetically modified ingredients, and completely vegan. We even pre-screen our Survival Shield X2 iodine for radiation. Pure, clean, and sourced from deep within the Earth, X2 nascent iodine is available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com, or call 1-888-253-3139.
I've seen every indicator they're getting ready for total collapse the last 4 or 5 years, accelerating. Every indicator they're preparing for gun confiscation. Every indicator they're preparing to persecute gun owners, veterans, anybody who's self-sufficient and not a traitor. And now they're public about it. Homeland Security is for anyone loyal to the Republic, anyone who's a good person. Because in a society of criminals, who are you worried about? You want to take over society? You want to feed on the sheep? You don't like sheepdogs. You want to hunt them down. So I got news for all of you. You're going to have your pension funds taken if you don't bring down the globalists. You're going to end up being a slave. That's their default plan, and they don't stop. They love to usurp. They love to take over. And the constellation of global crises, triggering the Arab Spring, funding al-Qaeda, renaming it, starting war with Russia, accelerating, the new taxes, folks, for those that actually run a company and have employees. It's just devastating. If I expand or do anything under accrual, I like pay more taxes than money I make personally, literally. It wasn't like that 4 years ago. They are shutting the country down with Obamacare. Companies are closing everywhere. This is all designed to shut us down. Because the big globalist corporations are exempt. Only they can operate. It's like decompressing an airplane, and then you've got an oxygen mask, and you hijack it and take it to your home country. That's what they're doing, is they're draining the oxygen out of the country. They've got political mask, oxygen. Here's the analogy or the parable or the allegory. And then they get the whole infrastructure. The globalist and Cloward and Piven, and we just use that because it's popularized. It's in hundreds of sociological papers to cut off the economy, make you dependent on government. It's basic domestication. That's what Agenda 21, UN treaty is. Shut off everything but what the elites control. It is the equivalent of a financial, political, sociological, cultural, spiritual neutron bomb. And by the way, Jimmy Carter didn't ban neutron bombs, and the Russians didn't either. They produced whole generations of high-tech neutron bombs. I've had top former nuclear weapons developers on who've been able to talk about it because part of it's been leaked. They can't release classified info, but if somebody else has accidentally released it, they can talk about it. They're well beyond high-tech neutron bombs. They've even developed antimatter weapons. That was in the San Francisco Chronicle. The Air Force leaked that 8 years ago. This is crazy town. And so the point I'm getting at is you and I have cognitive dissonance because we don't think like that. We think about prosperity and happiness and like people doing good. The globalists don't. This is the real deal. Now, in the political fight, there's a chance. I'm going to get James Wesley Rawles' take on this and give him the floor on other issues. If we come out, call the White House, call Congress, call the media, and say the defaults haven't been followed, which is now starting to be admitted in Bloomberg, AP, and others, you're supposed to quarantine these people and everybody that's been in contact with them immediately. You're supposed to stop the flights. If we make a big enough issue out of this, they may stop the flights. They don't want to do that, though, till it's clearly already here and spreading, because they want this crisis to not go to waste. I mean, that's default. They're now on purpose doing this. They may not have up front, but they clearly are now, in my view. If we put enough pressure on them, they may have to back off. And I printed up, and they're now coming in from the U.S. manufacturer, so you can order them right now. Ebola on the front with the Obama symbol and the O, or the rising sun. And then it says Obola on the back. Now, MSNBC, with no viewers, they say they control reality. They say no one is, allowed to say this, you're racist. Well, good. We have a limited number without the blood splatters on it, a limited number with the blood splatters on it, to associate collectivism and Obama with disease. They associate liberty movement with blowing up the Oklahoma City building, which we didn't do. They did it. The Attorney General was the Deputy Attorney General at the time, ran the cover-up. That came out in federal lawsuits. His emails ordering the cover-up of that false flag. So order the limited edition T-shirt, InfoWarsStore.com or MadeIn1776.com. And we also have the limited edition Made in 1776 Molon Labe. The belt buckle's all sold out, but we do have the George Washington one's a limited amount left. And the Molon Labe shirts with the 300 type symbol on the front with crossed M4 223s, ball caps, you name it. And all of your purchases fund this organization that is more important than ever. InfoWars, with all our guests, all our experts, all our research, our wide spectrum analysis, our deep analysis, is crowdsourced by you, buying the books, buying the videos, buying the supplements that are all high quality. Important liberty messages to help meet other people that are like-minded, to help organize in your area. Or if you're just getting prepared, high-quality Pro Pure water filters, 10% off, promo code WATER, the already lowest price. Destroys the competition in side-by-side comparisons. Don't listen to the hype. Go look at the actual statistics on the website and the videos. Whether it's high-quality storable foods at InfoWarsStore.com, or whether it is the very best supplements, the X2 Nascent Iodine, that is needed in all the glands, but especially the thyroid. It has done so much for me and my health and my wellness. You've heard the listeners, what they've said with it. We have the original Survival Shield as well. The DNA Force that is on record with the Bio-PQQ and the CoQ10, the organic sources of it in very high concentrations. A true nutraceutical formulation. Competitors are 3 to 4 times more expensive in the major publications and medical. A lot of medical doctors sell this in their offices, sell their own formulas for, we're talking $300, $400, $500, just way above what we sell it for. This is an industry game changer. DNA Force, the super male vitality, the super female vitality, the colloidal silver bullet. InfoWarsLife.com or InfoWarsStore.com. And then there's the Beyond Tangy Tangerine and all the other great longevity products at InfoWarsHealth.com. And all of your purchases support this transmission, help you with your wellness, bolstering and building up all of our immunities, getting our feet on the ground, not on our heels, but on our toes. That's what it's all about, a win-win. And obviously, if this continues to spiral out of control, it's not just us, but other supplement makers of lesser quality, or in some cases equal quality, that's very rare, are going to run out. I mean, that's what's already happening, is because people are really getting tuned in and researching what can really give them a leg up with all the things that are going on. So InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com, or 888-253-3139. SurvivalBlog.com is his excellent website where they're really discussing in depth, himself and other experts, what to do, you know, the real science, not the hype, behind protecting yourself from Ebola, not just from the immune system angle, but from the sheltering in place angle. So I know where I'm going to be tonight. I'm going back to Cabela's. I'm getting more storable food, because if it isn't this crisis, it shows our government and other governments are totally inept. But I don't know how they're going to get away with France and Germany and other African countries sealing their borders, stopping the flights, but we didn't. James, you've got the floor to finish up with what an Ebola spread could look like, other economic collapse data we've got with the dollar, what you think about Russia, what you think about ISIS, all of this. You've got the floor for the balance of the hour. James Wesley Rawles.
Well, thank you, Alex. I think that your listeners are going to be head and shoulders above most Americans, because most of your listeners are well-prepared individuals. They've prepared for their families nutritionally, in terms of food storage and supplements. There are folks that are not buying the big lie, and folks that will be prepared to shelter in place if the Ebola pandemic multiplies the way I anticipate. Folks need to be looking at this both from a political standpoint and a practical standpoint. And the practical measures that people have to take are, at this point, pretty evident. One thing that a lot of people have overlooked is just the sheer number of pairs of nitrile gloves and booty shoe covers that people are going to have to stock, so that they can at least, go out and get their mail safely. People need to think about food storage, about water filtration. You'll certainly need a N95 or better mask. There's some evidence that the Ebola virus only measures 80 nanometers, and an N95 mask has pass-through apertures of about 200 nanometers. So what you're really looking at is something better than an N95 mask. So you're either going to want to have a full mil-spec mask, or you're going to have what's called an N99 or N100 mask to protect from Ebola. If Ebola can be transmitted through the skin, that means you're going to need a full suit, full face coverage, and the decontamination procedures that you're going to need to follow are going to be fairly complicated. Folks need to be, stock up on at least a decent quality disinfectant like Lysol and spray bottles. Whoever is going to be the hapless volunteer who has to be in contact with the outside world for your family is basically going to have to stand outside in full sunlight for a half hour after being in contact and be sprayed down 3 times successively before they start to take off their protective gear. And the expendable items like the booties, the covers for your shoes, and your gloves are going to have to go right into an incinerator barrel.
Degenerate. This whole West is degenerating. It's television. People are spectators now. They just don't have a spark. And those that do are the enemy. We're the milk cows. We're supposed to do the work, do all the thinking, and then be attacked by all the parasites above and below. It's just a really bad situation. James Wesley Rawles, other points briefly on Russia, on ISIS, and tell us about your new book that's coming out.
Well, in terms of Russia and the Ukraine, I think that there'll probably be a announced political solution for the Ukraine crisis, but the long-term power game has not gone away.